Good morning and Chronia Pola for the upcoming feast of our most blessed and life-giving cross. My name is Thespinis Theodosia and I'm a Meson Girls Sunday School teacher at the parish of All Saints Belmore. To start our discussion today, I want to begin with a story which demonstrates our topic in many ways. Our story is from the life of Saint Paisios when he was in the military as a radio operator. Now try and imagine yourself in his shoes. How would you feel? What would go through your mind? And what decision would you make? Now when Saint Paisios was fighting in the army, back then Arsenios, he met another wireless operator called Pantelis. What impressed Arsenios about Pantelis was his authenticity, philotimo and nobility. These spiritual gifts made them kindred. A few days after they first met, in the beginning of April in 1949, they were both sent to the mountainous region of Navpaktos for the final purging operations. During one maneuver, their company was forced to retreat. As they were retreating, tripped and fell backwards so hard with the heavy wireless on his back that he passed out. When the other soldiers returned to the security zones and Arsenios noticed Pantelis was missing, he wanted to run back and find him, but the other soldiers would not let him. They said, "He's been killed. Don't go back and get yourself killed as well." The captain, fearing they might in fact reveal their position to the guerrillas, strictly forbade Arsenios from crossing the trench and even threatened to kill him. Arsenios, however, fearing nothing, left his wireless, crossed the trench, and ran some 300 meters without cover but the protection of God. He reached the place where Pantelis lay, heaved him onto his shoulder together with the wireless, and started to return. Everyone anxiously watched, fearful that the guerrillas would start shooting from their position, which was 150 meters away. However, not even one bullet was fired, and Arsenios managed to bring Pantelis back to safety. The captain remarked, "You must have some saint protecting you to have saved both yourself and him." Now that you have heard the story, pause the video and write down all the things that stood out for you from that story. Now on your paper you might have written words like courage, perseverance, strength, faith and boldness. But although these are all very important pieces of the big puzzle that makes up our spiritual life, they will not be our focus today. Our topic of discussion today will be something greater, and that is love, which hopefully also made it to your paper. What stood out in Saint Paisios' example was his Christ-like love without bounds. It was a special kind of love that united him with God and with his neighbour. Saint Paisios fulfilled Christ's words, "Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends." Now, what comes to mind when you think of love? Is it doing something kind for someone else, like washing the dishes or making your sibling's bed? Is it sweeping the floors or putting the rubbish out? Is it a feeling you feel for your friends or siblings? Well, St. John the Theologian gives us the answer. The one who does not love does not know God, for God is love. So love is actually much more than a feeling. It is a person. If we look at it in this way, we can put love in perspective. Love is two-directional. It is first a vertical relationship with God and a horizontal relationship with our neighbour. To love God, we need to love our neighbour. And to love our neighbour, we need to love God. But first comes the love for God. Saint Porphyrios explains, the most important is love of God, because it is not only an act of the soul toward God, but it is the grace of God that fills the soul and transforms it. And Christ our Creator and our Eternal Father shows us the way. He shows us how to love and calls us to follow. Christ gave us examples through the Old Testament. Think of Abraham and his hospitality. He would stand at his tent and would call in any stranger walking by to offer him a drink or something to eat. For Christ tells us, and whoever gives one of these little ones only a cup of cold water in the name of a disciple, assuredly I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward. This shows us that God does not expect much. Whatever we can offer, he accepts, as long as it comes from a genuine and humble heart, like the widow who could only offer 2 small coins. But her gift was greater, as she gave all she had. God sees this love and reciprocates it, which we can see through the parable of the prodigal son. Christ then gave us his own example of love in the New Testament. He came down from heaven to earth and taught a new commandment, one no one had told the world before. He taught, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. By this all will know that you are my disciples. And Christ was the first to follow this commandment. He fed the poor, healed the sick, cast out demons, and raised the dead. But his ultimate action and sacrifice of love was his death on the cross. Now I want you to stop here and think for a second about a beautiful white pelican with 4 little babies. And the babies have not eaten for 3 weeks. So the pelican cuts its breast open with its beak and feeds its babies with its own blood. We can use this example to understand how much love Christ has for us. He died willingly on the cross and conquered death so we can no longer be afraid of death, so we can live with faith and hope, and we can live forever in his kingdom. Now, thinking about our Lord's example, although we can't heal the sick or raise the dead, we can show love and compassion to our neighbour. Apostle Paul gives us some advice on how to love in his epistle to the Corinthians. Here we can take his description of love and put it into action. Love means to be patient with our siblings, our parents, and everyone we meet during the day. Love means to not attack our neighbour through our thoughts and always think about them in a positive way. Love means to not become angry and provoked, but to always create peace in every situation. And love means to act in an appropriate way and always seek out the other's well-being. The hymn of love finishes with a powerful message, and that is that love can do everything but fail. Knowing this, we can think of love as a powerful and unbreakable force, a force that ties us with God and with our neighbour. Saint Nektarios on love advises, ask God every day for love. Together with love come all the other benefits and virtues. Elder Ephraim of Arizona calls love the national anthem of paradise. Following this analogy, I want you to take your mind back to where the discussion first began. When soldiers join the war, they must say a creed. In this creed, they promise to be a warrior and a part of the team. They promise to be willing to serve the people, live the army's values, and place the mission first. And they promise to never leave a fallen comrade. This was done by St. Paisios, and this can be done by all of us when we look out for our neighbour, live by our Orthodox values, stand firm in the faith, and work together as a team towards salvation. So as an Orthodox Christian in today's world, hold your flag high and sing with pride our national anthem, the national anthem of love.